So first of all, we'll begin with a do now quiz. Okay, so just write out the words and phrases below, and then define them. Okay, and then press pause on this PowerPoint before you then go on to the next slide, which has the answers. And here indeed are the answers. So what you are to do now, as usual, just correct your answers in a different color ink, just for your own reference, so that you are aware of the gaps in your memory in terms of what's stuck and what you haven't remembered. Do that now, please. Okay, moving on to today's content, lighting. So to understand what LATE stands for, lighting, angle, techniques and effects, and its relevance in the long term, why you need to know this. And also we're going to look at lighting angles and how we can use those for effects and indeed use them effectively. So task one, to start really broadly, okay, my question to you is, what is light? Okay, now you may have touched on this in physics, you may not have, and this might completely blow your mind as a question. That's fine. Just have a think what it might be, and I will go through this with you on the next slide. Okay. So yeah, light is the perception by our brains of a particular spectrum of energy. Okay, I'm not going to read the rest of the content. You will do that now, and I will pause. So yeah, to summarize, light is something that exists because of our perception of it. In other words, because our eyes receive the light. Okay, it's not a thing. It's not a thing in and of itself. Okay. So, what does lighting designer do? Once again, I'm not going to read this out. You can do that yourself. Okay. Moving on to acronym, which, as it says there, it's a word formed from the initial letters of other words. So late, each letter within the word later basically stands for something else. And this is a really good structure that I've found works in terms of how to structure an exam response. So, for example, you're always going to want to talk about the lighting source. A source is where something comes from. So quite literally, it's what is it? What is the thing that makes the light? Is it a stage lantern? Is it a torch? The thing that makes the light. That's all lighting source means. Angle means what direction is it shined from? Okay. So we've got, quite simply, we've got up, down, back, front, and side. There are diagonals as well. It's not quite as simple as that, but the conceptually is very simple. How doing it is not simple, but conceptually it's simple. It's just directions. Technique and effects. That's where it gets a bit of obviously there's more detail, more sophistication and nuance there. That's really getting into why are you using it. Okay, so you might be making a silhouette or a shadow, or you may be making an object appear to move by moving a lighting source in relation to it, for example. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a moment to read through. Okay, I've gone through it verbally there, but how I've summarized it in writing there below. Okay, and as I said there, I'm just going to talk you through some key stage lanterns. Okay, I'm going to give you a few moments to read the content on this slide before I narrate over it. Okay. So firstly, the profile spot, often referred to as a spotlight, it has shutters on it. Okay, and what they do, they work inside the lantern. They literally cut across the beam to shape the light. So rather than just being limited to having it as a spot of light, you can give it lines. You can have like a straight edge, semicircle on the other side, or from different angles you can cut across it to make it whatever shape you want. In addition to that, you've got sliders on there which make the spot bigger or smaller, so you can, as I said, change the scale of the beam of light, that spot of light that you create. Secondly, the Fresnel. Now, if you ever talk about creating a wash of light on the stage, which I do hope that you all will at some stage in your exam answers, frankly, then the Fresnel lantern is the lantern that you need to be using for that, because they blend nicely. As it says, they've got a soft edge. Okay, so they overlap quite easily, and you get a nice even spread of light. And yeah, a wash can cover the whole stage, or it could be a certain section of the stage, be it stage right or stage left, or upstage or downstage. So that's this idea of Fresnel and wash. They go hand in hand together. And finally, a birdie is a very small lantern which is very portable. We've actually got some, I think, at school on which you can attach to the lip of the stage, and they provide uplighting, so that you just have a wider variety of angles happening. You can also attach them to a stage flat, which is one of those things. Once again, they've been used in school productions, and you can attach them to the back of a flat, and it illuminates something from a different angle. Once again, very small, very versatile stage lantern. Okay, so I'll give you a few moments initially to read the content on this slide. Okay, so firstly, gels. You have a range of gels. You've got 7 gels there displayed in the left-hand column. Now, in an exam situation, if you talk about how you want to use a coloured light, then I want you to be talking about how you would use a gel. In actuality, at school, we've got we're very privileged because we've got LED lights which give an enormous range of hues, in other words, of colour. However, in an exam situation, I want you to talk about gels because it's a piece of terminology that will inevitably resonate with the examiner. They'll understand it, and it will get you marks, frankly. Secondly, barn door. So similar to the effect of a shutter on a profile spot, barn doors shape the beam of light. Okay, so as you can see that you've got those flaps which are on a hinge on the edge of the lantern, and you can just fold them down either for an effect or just to prevent unwanted spill of light onto areas of the stage you want to be dark. Okay, so that's a barn door. And thirdly, a gobo. What a gobo does is it creates a textured light upon the stage. Quite commonly, I've seen it used to make leaf patterns. I've used it myself in a previous production to create like a woodland effect, which is quite nice also for DNA, which obviously is your chosen text. So that's a good option there for you. So on this slide, I've demonstrated how lighting sources are not limited to stage lanterns. In other words, the things that you attach to a bar, or in the case of a birdie, like I said, you can attach to the stage or a stage flat. So here you've got torch, house lights, lights which are for the auditorium, where the audience sits. Neon lighting strips. I once saw a production of DNA where that was the only source of light in 4 corners of the room, which made quite a dim effect, but that worked well with their overall concept where they used a lot of torches. So yeah, anything. And obviously, health and safety is a limiting factor. You couldn't use a naked flame because that would simply be, deemed not safe, and it wouldn't be legal, wouldn't be allowed. So yeah, like I said, if you want to have a candle effect, you'd have to use an LED candle. Some of you may have gone to the globe. The sun is obviously a form of natural lighting. which are obviously very effective in terms of visibility, but it's limited as well in terms of effects that you can create. So yeah, quite simply, anything that creates light and is safe, you can use on the stage. Fairy lights, anything you want. Cyclorama or cyc. There's one actually in the school hall. Now this might not seem like something to do with lighting, but it definitely is. It's because it reflects light, and also you can project things upon a cyclorama. It's basically that massive piece of white fabric that is hung. It's in a kind of a concave shape. That just means it curves in itself. And also, lastly, dry ice. Okay, so that smoky effect is also a lighting issue, because what it does, dry ice, when you shine a beam through it, it makes the beam manifest. You can literally see the beam more clearly as it's reflected off the individual particles of the dry ice. It makes it more vivid and clearer to see. Okay, so I was going to if we were at school, I'd have got a torch and done some myself, but we can't do that right now, so I've given some examples here. So first of all, uplighting. Okay, number one. So there, if it's not already obvious to you, the lighting is coming from the floor and shining upwards. Okay, we all might have had someone do this on bonfire night, where get a torch and you make it makes you look sinister. The reason it looks sinister is because it's inverting, it's turning upside down the habitual angle that we normally see light shining from. In other words, the sun. It's the opposite of that effect, which is why it can arguably have a sinister effect. Secondly, backlighting. Keyword here is silhouette. It's not particularly not particularly an effective silhouette in this example. I suspect there's a light source at the front, because this person can be seen quite clearly. But in another way, if it was a total blackout and you had just a light from behind this person, then their outline would just be like a totally indistinct black outline. You wouldn't be able to see any features at all. So backlighting for silhouettes. Downlighting. So yeah, downlighting, this is specifically top lighting, where it's right above the performers. In fact, slightly from behind, actually, looking at looking at number 3 here. But top lighting is actually the most familiar, really, because that's obviously where the lanterns are hung from, and it creates a natural effect. Also, it's quite practical. You can see features usually. Here, though, it's actually a bit, it's from behind, so it creates once again a sinister effect in a different way, because the front of this person's face isn't lit, therefore it makes them anonymous, therefore mysterious, therefore potentially a bit creepy. The front lighting there, the most common of all angles, it quite simply just makes the person most visible. Yeah, so it's from the. It's also downlighting there. It's not uplighting. It's not got that sinister effect. It's just got that natural downlit from the front effect. Okay. Side lighting. Once again, like uplighting, can look quite sinister. It anonymizes, in other words, makes the audience not necessarily be able to see the identity of the person through the side light in there. Okay, so task 5. So this is a 3-part story exercise. Okay, so first of all, you've got to pick a simple but well-known story, and then pick 3 points in the story where you're going to make a lighting state. Okay, and I'm going to show you some examples on the next slide to help you. Okay, I'll just give you a moment to read through the instructions on this slide. So as you can see on the left, it's basically telling you what to do. So it's going to think about what angle or angles. Okay, if you're feeling confident, you can use different lanterns in combinations, which is what we would have been doing in the real world if if I was in a room with you with different torches. I'd get you to do it that way. But anyway, but as long as you consider at least one angle for each of your 3 lighting states, then that's a good start. If you can think about them in combination, then even better. And then for each lighting state, I just want you to justify, say why you would do it like that, as I've done there for point 2b, saying how I would use uplighting to make the character look sinister, obviously to to denote the villainy of the wolf, just to kind of make him seem even more sinister than he is. Now, the example, the image I've given isn't a wolf, obviously, it's a person. However, what that just showcases is uplighting there, if in case that weren't already obvious. Okay, so do this work on loose paper if you've been unable to print the booklet. If you have been able to print the booklet, then there's some space on the back, in the back of the booklet. I've done some spare sheets where you could do this work. Okay, it's okay either way. It's fine. If you are doing your work on loose paper, then please collate it. Put it in a plastic wallet, staple it, just so that it all stays in the same place, so that we can attach it together and keep it, nicely organized for when you do come back to school. Okay, I hope you enjoy this lesson, and I will see you in the next one, either in my voice form or on Microsoft Teams. Okay, bye for now.